Welcome to video 7 of the Beginner Guitar Quick Start series. In this lesson, we're going to learn how to use your picking hand to strum properly on the guitar. This is going to make sure that your practice and playing time is efficient, it's going to reduce the risk of injury, and it's going to help your progress be a lot faster in future lessons. Now I'm going to be using a pick for the strumming in this lesson, but you don't have to use one. If you don't have one or if you don't want to, that's totally fine. It's up to you. You can just use your thumb and your index finger to kind of strum the strings. Now, I would recommend at least trying to use a pick, and some of the stuff that I'm going to cover in this lesson is a bit subjective as far as how to grip the pick and the angle that you're going to be strumming at. So that's really up to you. So the best way to start trying to hold a pick is to just stick the pick out in front of you like this if you're right-handed, point it that way, put your thumb on it as naturally as you can, and then just come down on that pick with your index finger. Now, as far as the grip on the pick, like I said, try to do what's natural. Your finger may be curved around like that. It may be more parallel to the pick, or maybe even the complete other way. And you may even want to try using two fingers to hold the pick. That gives you some control. Experiment and just see what feels comfortable and natural for you. All right, the second little subjective thing that I want to go over is the angle that you're going to be picking at. Most people have the pick angled downward like this, kind of towards the floor when they strum. Some people have the pick angled more parallel to the strings, and some people, like I said, if you use the two-finger method for holding the pick, the angle is more upward like this. It really doesn't matter. The important thing is that you experiment with the angle that you like best and find out what works for you. The next tip that I want to give you when you're strumming is to relax. If you tense up, you're going to be really inefficient and you're going to open the door for some injury. So if you feel any tension creeping into your strumming at any time, just stop, relax, and then start over again. One thing that I see a lot of newer players do, I see them lock their wrist and just strum from their elbow. And what that does, that can create a lot of tension. That can be a source for a lot of tension, so don't do that. One of the best analogies that I've ever heard for strumming, and I use it all the time, is to pretend like you have some honey on your finger, then your feather is stuck to it, and you're just trying to flick it off. If you look at that, most of the motion is coming from my wrist. My elbow is moving too, but my wrist isn't locked and just using my elbow, right? So keep that in mind, keep that little analogy in mind as we go through this. And we're going to start with just some downstrokes for strumming. And if you don't know any chords yet, that's totally fine. You can just mute the strings, or you can make a chord if you know one. And just take the pick in your hand in your preferred grip that you've been kind of messing with, and then the preferred angle that feels most comfortable for you. And remember that analogy. Don't lock your wrist and just use your elbow. Just go strum through all 6 strings using downstrokes. Keep doing that over and over again until you get comfortable with it. If you need to stop the video, that's totally fine. Once you get comfortable with your downstrokes, you need to get comfortable with some upstrokes too. So do the exact same thing. Make sure you're not locking your wrist and just using your elbow. Just strum through the string using an upstroke. And a lot of people, a lot of newer guitar players think if they're playing a full chord, like a chord that uses all 6 strings, that they have to upstroke through all 6 strings, and that's not the case. Let me show you this real quick. I'm gonna play G chord, it's a 6-string chord. And if I do upstrokes, I generally only hit the top 3 to 5 strings with my upstrokes. With my downstrokes, I generally hit all 6. But with my upstrokes, I'm only hitting about the top 4 strings there. So once you're comfortable with your downstrokes and your upstrokes individually, you're gonna wanna try to put them together. Just do that over and over again. And like I said, if you don't know a chord yet, that's fine, just mute the strings. A lot of newer guitar players have trouble holding onto the pick when they strum. It ends up flying out of their hands. You, as a new guitar player, are going to have to experiment with how tightly you hold onto the pick. You want to hold onto it tightly enough to where it doesn't go flying out of your hands, but you don't want to hold onto it so tightly that you tense up. One thing you're going to have to do is kind of develop a technique to where you're kind of constantly adjusting the pick, because if you're strumming a lot, that pick's going to move around a little and you're going to need to adjust your grip. So if I'm strumming a G chord, I'm always making little micro adjustments just to make sure I'm holding onto the pick to where it doesn't fly out of my hands. Keep all the tips that you've learned in this lesson in mind as we move forward in the Beginner Guitar Quick Start series. And for right now, just practice your downstroke strumming, your upstroke strumming, and putting them together. Don't even worry about your fretting hand right now. Just work on your strumming hand. In the next lesson, we're going to go over your first 2 chords, and I'm also going to give you some tips on how to keep your chords clean and buzz-free. If you have any questions about strumming, you can leave them here in the comments or email me, Nate@guitarsystem.com. Later.